Hey, I'm SuperGameEskimo, and I've been playing video games for a long time. Like, my whole life. So I've been to quite a few places. Some of them cool and some of them not so cool. But most of the time they're just plain weird. So here's a new segment I'm going to call Loco Locales. Enjoy!
Wind Waker was a game I spent a lot of time with. Still, I haven't actually finished it. I've got pretty far, but after collecting a few shards of the Triforce, I was just done. So I kind of just sailed a lot. Yeah. As I explored the map, I found that a lot of the time, this game doesn't really make that much sense. For example, since the world has flooded, you'd think that pretty much everyone would own a boat by now. But the fact is, despite the world being well over 95% ocean, there is a chronic lack of boats. How that's a thing, I don't know. But I do know that the only boats you ever do come across are the King of Red Lions, Beetle's Store, the Diver's Boat, and the Ghost Ship. How does a ship become a ghost, you ask? Voodoo, obviously. There's still evidence for people using boats, you just never see them. Well, that or everyone on Windfall is a pathogenic liar, which I'm not dismissing. Because if you look around, you can find an abundance of supposed sailors. They'll either be by the docks in the day or the cafe at night, but they will never actually have a boat on the island. Still, that won't stop them telling you about their encounters with sea monsters, or even claiming to be relaxing from a hard day's work. Which, if this is anything to go by, is complete bull hockey. But forgetting boats a second, where do people even live? It's only a very small island, but I've counted and there are at least 31 people that permanently stay here. And it only gets worse because whilst Windfall isn't completely devoid of houses, there's certainly not a lot either. In fact, out of the 7 buildings on Windfall, there's only one that's actually a house. So what the heck is going on? Because it's not like 31 people actually live here. They either disappear completely or they just stand around at night eerily waiting for the day like opposite vampires. It's inconceivable enough that there's only a single house on the island, but even that is barely a house. There's only one room and all that seems to be is a lounge area. There's no bathroom, toilet, or even any place to sleep. Which would explain why the guy that owns it is so grumpy all the time, but you'd think he'd give me some slack because, hey, I'm trying to save your daughter! And don't forget, this guy isn't just some regular Joe. He's the richest man in the entire world. But his house is hardly a step up from Link's. Link has 2 beds, a second floor that's kind of pointless, a place to cook, and a grandma. What has he got? A raging attitude and a missing daughter.
You lose.
You may think there's more to this house, like a locked door I can't get behind or something, but there really isn't. The only thing I've failed to mention is this area that the house looks onto, but apparently this isn't even part of the house. Instead, it's just an area where Zunari the Eskimo holds auctions. Well, sometimes holds auctions, most of the time he just stands there in the darkness, but who am I to judge? Speaking of Zunari, where the heck does he come from? If you speak to him for a while, he'll eventually tell you that his homeland is a place called Cold Island. But looking on the map, no such place exists. There is this area that fits the description, but it's called Ice Ring Isle. And it's weird because it's not as if Cold Island would be off limits somewhere. As long as you've got a boat, which you have, you should be able to find it. But you can't. So, this must mean that Zunari is just a lousy con man trying to pass off his junk as rare trinkets from a far off land to people that can't check the authenticity because they don't own boats to check for themselves and are too tired to question otherwise. How dare you?
What have I done? I've killed one of my own kind. Monster! I'm a monster!
What about food? There doesn't seem to be any places to buy food from or any natural vegetation or agriculture. So if they can't leave the island due to lack of boats, what are they eating? It should be noted that there are 2 pigs on the island, but they'd only feed everyone for a single night if that. They could make use of the flood and fish, but there's no fishing poles or nets from what I can see. Only bait. But even that doesn't seem to work very well. So the only food on the whole island is Jello, made by this creep. Sorry man, I just don't trust you. Now as weird as it is, I'm not going to go into the whole Rito evolved from the Zora thing because it actually kind of makes sense. Maybe not exact sense, but when you consider that gods actually exist in this universe, who's to say that one day they didn't just force everyone to evolve? Despite this, I am going to talk about the Rito. First, check out this guy. And this guy. And this guy. And this guy. And where are all the females? There's Medley, sure, but she is just a child. Who gave birth to all of these people? The dragon? Does anyone else find it extremely weird that these guys are basically just a race of postmen? I know it's because they can fly and stuff, but isn't this sort of racist, maybe? At least a little? To finish off, I just want to go over something that's puzzled me ever since my first playthrough. So, before you leave Outset Island for the first time, you can catch 3 pigs for this family. When you return much later in the game, however, there's only 1 pig in the pen, but it's huge now. Bottom line, I guess the other pigs got eaten, but the mystery is who by. The family you caught them for, or this gluttonous behemoth of a pig. Because if it wasn't the latter, what on earth did they feed this pig for it to get this fat? The only food on this island is grass and crabs, and you do not get this fat by eating grass and crabs. You would, however, by eating something the exact same size as you twice. So I'm gonna give you to the count of 3 to start coughing up those pigs, or this island is gonna see a buttload more bacon in the not so distant future. 1, 2, 3! Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you want to check out some of my other videos, please click on either of these 2 boxes. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because that's always nice. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Facebook. I'm SuperGameEskimo, and I'll see you next time.